Every trader dreams of freedom. The charts, the numbers, the idea of money flowing while you sleep, it all feels magnetic. You see stories online, people turning small accounts into fortunes, screenshots of profits that seem almost impossible. It pulls you in. You think, maybe this is my way out. Maybe this is my chance. But when you step into trading, the market has a way of stripping away your fantasies. You realize quickly that it's not a game of luck. It's not about quick wins or overnight success. It's about something quieter, something most people overlook: patience, discipline, and the power of small, consistent progress. That's where the $10 a day journey begins. $10 a day. It doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't sound life-changing. But hidden inside that small number is the entire blueprint for becoming a consistent, profitable trader. Most traders never realize this. They chase big wins. They want to double accounts overnight. They want to post screenshots that make them feel powerful. But those traders almost always burn out. They over-risk, over-trade, and let emotions drive their decisions. And sooner or later, the market takes everything back. The traders who survive, the ones who last, they learn to love the small steps. They learn to respect the process. They don't see $10 as a limitation. They see it as training for the mind. Because if you can make $10 consistently, you already mastered the hardest part of trading: control. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, are you trading to get rich fast? Or are you trading to master a skill for life? Because that answer determines your future. The trader chasing speed will always fall behind. The one focused on progress will always rise, slowly but steadily. $10 a day teaches you everything the market needs you to know. It teaches you patience, the ability to wait for your setup. It teaches you risk management, the discipline to protect your capital instead of gambling it. And it teaches you emotional control, the hardest skill of all. When you focus on $10 a day, you're not just learning to trade, you're training your mind to be consistent. You're developing the habits that will make you unshakable when bigger profits come later. Because the truth is, if you can't manage a small win, you'll never handle a big one. Think about it like this. Every great trader you admire today started small. They made mistakes. They blew accounts. They felt the pain of losing money they couldn't afford to lose. But what separated them from everyone else was endurance. They didn't quit. They adjusted, they learned, and they started again. Smaller, smarter, more disciplined. That's the essence of the $10 journey. It's not about the number, it's about the identity you build through that process. You become a trader who executes with patience, not emotion. A trader who can sit on their hands when the setup isn't clear. A trader who no longer defines success by profit, but by process. Now imagine stacking those $10 wins over time. 10 today, 10 tomorrow, 10 the next day. Each day may feel slow, but over time something magical happens. Consistency compounds. Your confidence grows. Your discipline strengthens. The noise of the market begins to fade and clarity takes its place. Most people underestimate compounding because they think only of money. But compounding applies to habits too. Every small disciplined day compounds into stronger emotional control, sharper focus, and deeper understanding. That's why small goals matter, because consistency is built from repetition, not excitement. When you learn to make $10 a day, you stop needing the market to move fast. You stop chasing. You stop reacting. You start waiting, observing, letting the market come to you. That's when everything shifts, because now you're no longer gambling. You're operating like a professional. Pause for a moment and reflect. What would happen if you truly committed to the $10 journey, not just for a week or a month, but for a year? That's 250 trading days. That's $2,500. Not life-changing money, but life-changing growth. Because if you can do that consistently, then you can scale it. The skill doesn't change. Only the numbers do. Say it to yourself, I'm building the habits of a professional trader. This mindset rewires your relationship with the market. You start to measure success in discipline, not dollars. You start to celebrate patience, not profits. And you begin to see trading for what it truly is, a mirror of your mind. Every time you break a rule, the market exposes your weakness. Every time you stay disciplined, it rewards you, not always in money, but in confidence, control, and peace of mind. That's what most traders miss. They think the goal is money. The real goal is mastery, because once you master yourself, the money follows automatically. So when you open your chart tomorrow, don't ask, how much can I make? Ask, how well can I execute? Because the trader who masters execution will always make money in the long run. The trader who chases money without discipline will always give it back. Trading isn't about being lucky, it's about being consistent. And consistency doesn't start with thousands, it starts with $10 a day. The number doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up, you follow your plan, and you trust the process. Now, take a breath. Picture yourself a year from now, calm, confident, and consistent. Your emotions no longer control you. You know your setups. You know your plan. You know that every day you're getting better, not because you're making more money, but because you're mastering the process. That's the power of small steps. That's the truth behind $10 a day. The world chases speed. The wise chase longevity. You're not just trading to earn, you're trading to evolve. Start small. Stay patient. Keep your discipline unshakable. Because every $10 day is proof that you're not chasing luck, you're building skill. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that those small steps were actually giant leaps toward everything you wanted. The journey doesn't need to be fast. It just needs to be steady. $10 at a time.
Most traders enter the market believing it's all about strategy, indicators, entries, exits, setups. They think success hides in the charts. But the longer you trade, the more you realize the truth. The battle isn't on the screen. It's in your mind. The chart just reflects it. You can have the best strategy in the world and still fail if your emotions are unstable. You can have the perfect analysis and still lose if you lack patience. That's why the $10 a day journey isn't really about money at all. It's a mental transformation disguised as a trading goal. Because when you tell yourself, all I need to do is make $10 a day, something changes. You stop pressuring yourself to make miracles. You quiet the noise in your head. You start focusing on process instead of outcome. The goal becomes achievable, and with that, your confidence grows. And that confidence, not greed, not luck, becomes your edge. Trading is 20% strategy and 80% psychology. That 80% lives inside the moments between trades, the moments when the market tempts you to break your rules, when losses sting, when fear whispers that you should quit. Every trader faces that test. Most fail it because they expect trading to feel good all the time. It doesn't. Growth rarely does. The $10 gold teaches you to endure discomfort without breaking discipline. You start realizing that not every day will be green. There will be losses. There will be doubt. But when your target is small and realistic, those bad days don't destroy you. They teach you. You don't panic. You don't chase. You simply adapt. Imagine how different your journey would feel if you could trade without fear, without pressure, without the obsession to win every single time. That's what $10 a day gives you. It takes away the noise. It replaces desperation with focus. It gives you permission to learn without self-destruction. That's the real secret behind consistency, emotional balance. The reason most traders fail isn't because they're not smart. It's because they're not patient enough to build the habits that create stability. They want instant validation. They want to skip the slow, painful part of growth. But skipping the process is the same as skipping the lesson. Patience is the ultimate trading skill. It's what separates gamblers from professionals. A gambler acts out of impulse. A professional acts out of plan. And the $10 a day trader becomes a professional long before the profits show it. Every time you wait for your setup instead of forcing a trade, you're building mastery. Every time you stick to your stop loss instead of moving it, you're building discipline. Every time you walk away after hitting your small target instead of getting greedy, you're building emotional control. And all those small decisions, repeated hundreds of times, compound into the foundation of a truly consistent trader. Now, think about what happens when you don't have that discipline. One emotional decision can destroy weeks of progress. You overtrade, you double down, you revenge trade, all because your ego can't handle being wrong. That's how most accounts die, not because of bad setups, but because of bad reactions. The $10 goal protects you from yourself. It's small enough to keep you calm, but powerful enough to build real skill. It's a psychological anchor. When you focus on small, controlled growth, your brain stops associating trading with adrenaline and starts associating it with precision. You become methodical, intentional, and patient. You begin to understand something most traders never do. You're not in the business of winning trades. You're in the business of managing behavior. Say that to yourself right now. I manage my behavior, not the market. That single shift in mindset will change everything. Because once you master your emotions, the market loses its power over you. You'll see other traders post screenshots of massive wins, and instead of envy, you'll feel clarity. You'll know that most of those big wins come with even bigger risks, and you'll realize you don't need that chaos. You just need consistency. $10 a day might sound small now, but that's the quiet seed that grows into financial confidence. When your mind becomes consistent, your results eventually follow. Trading success is less about what you know and more about how long you can last. The market rewards endurance, not excitement. And the traders who endure are the ones who master patience. So what does patience really mean in trading? It's not just waiting for the right trade. It's waiting for yourself to mature as a trader. It's giving yourself permission to learn slowly. It's realizing that becoming consistent might take months or even years, and that's okay. When you aim for $10 a day, you remove the time pressure. You stop expecting the market to pay your bills tomorrow. You start respecting the process of skill building, and that patience will take you further than any signal, indicator, or strategy ever could. You must understand this. The market is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Every loss is a lesson, every mistake a message, but only the patient traders hear those lessons clearly. The impatient ones repeat them forever. Patience transforms your frustration into focus. It makes you wait for high probability setups instead of gambling. It helps you recognize when to step back, when not to trade, and when to protect your capital. And in doing so, it gives you longevity, the most valuable asset any trader can have. Take a moment to imagine your trading life a year from now, where you wake up calm, not anxious. You execute your plan. You journal your trades. You hit your $10 target and walk away satisfied. You don't feel the need to prove anything. You don't feel the need to chase. You trust your system, and more importantly, you trust yourself. That's what mastery feels like. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens inevitably if you stay the course. That's the essence of the $10 journey. It's a promise you make to yourself to stay patient long enough to see your potential unfold. Now, ask yourself, can you commit to that? Not for 1 week, not for 1 month, but for as long as it takes. Because that's the real test. Most traders quit not because they can't trade, but because they can't wait long enough for their growth to compound. Every $10 day is proof that you're winning a deeper game, the game of self-mastery. You're not just learning charts, you're learning yourself. You're proving that you can act with control even when emotion pulls you in every direction. That's the journey. That's the lesson. That's the truth that every successful trader discovers. Patience pays more than any setup ever will. So slow down. Focus. Let the process work for you. $10 a day isn't small. It's the beginning of everything.
Once you've mastered the patience to earn $10 a day, something powerful begins to happen. Your trades start to feel calmer. Your decisions get clearer. You're no longer glued to every candle or every tick of price action. You start seeing the market differently, not as a battlefield, but as a rhythm, a flow. And you begin to understand that the real secret to growth is not how much you can make, but how much you can protect. Risk management becomes your language. Every professional trader speaks it fluently. It's the difference between gambling and calculated execution. The traders who blow up accounts aren't unlucky, they're undisciplined. They risk too much, too soon, chasing the rush of quick profit. But when you're walking the $10 journey, you can't afford to play that game.
You learn to protect capital as if it were oxygen. You start small because you're building the one thing money can't buy: control. You learn that one bad decision can erase weeks of progress, and that realization humbles you. It sharpens your judgment. You stop taking unnecessary trades. You stop doubling your lot size after a loss. You stop trying to make back what the market took. And in that stillness, something profound happens. Consistency starts to emerge. Consistency isn't about winning every trade. It's about managing yourself so that no single trade can destroy your confidence or your account. It's about staying alive in the game long enough for your edge to work. Think of the market like the ocean. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to surf them. A skilled surfer doesn't fight the water, they flow with it, waiting patiently for the right wave. That's what a consistent trader does. They wait, they observe, they execute when the moment is right, not when emotions demand action. Say this to yourself: my job isn't to control the market. My job is to control me. That mindset turns trading from chaos into craft. As your $10 days start stacking up, you begin to see the power of scaling, not by force, but by foundation. You don't chase bigger wins. You let them grow naturally. You increase your lot size slowly, only when your consistency proves you're ready. Because the truth is, scaling up isn't about account size. It's about psychological strength. If you can't handle $10 swings without emotion, you won't handle $100 or $1,000. This is why the market tests you with small numbers first. It's not punishing you, it's preparing you. It's teaching you how to think like a professional. And the professionals know one thing: risk is the cost of doing business. Every loss is a lesson, every drawdown a tuition fee for the education of mastery. When you see risk this way, it stops being personal. It becomes process. The reason most traders fail isn't that they don't have a good strategy, it's that they never learn to manage risk with humility. They see the market as an opponent instead of a mirror. They take a loss and call it unfair. But a loss isn't unfair, it's feedback. It's data. It's the market whispering, you broke your rule. When you respect that feedback instead of fighting it, growth happens. Trading is a paradox. You win by learning how to lose. Not by avoiding losses, but by learning to take them correctly. Controlled, contained, emotionless. That's what separates a professional from an amateur. And that's what the $10 journey teaches better than anything else. When you can handle losing days without losing control, you're ready for the next level. When you can follow your plan even after a setback, you're ready to scale. Because the truth is, trading isn't about finding a perfect system, it's about building a perfect mindset. You could give two traders the same strategy, and one would win while the other loses. Why? Because strategy is neutral. It's the mindset behind it that makes it work. One trader follows rules, manages risk, journals mistakes, and stays patient. The other chases emotion, skips steps, and tries to outsmart the market. Same system, opposite outcomes. That's why your journey must always begin with small, steady progress. It's your training ground. It's where you build emotional stamina. Because when you learn to trade small, you're preparing your mind to handle the pressure of trading big. Think about this. If you can stay disciplined when $10 is on the line, your brain is learning how to detach emotion from results. When $1,000 is on the line later, your brain won't panic. It will recognize the pattern. You're rewiring your response to pressure through repetition. That's the invisible compounding power of the $10 mindset. Patience, control, and risk awareness, these are your real profits. The money is just the byproduct. So when the time comes to scale, do it slowly. Don't jump from $10 to $100 overnight. Prove your consistency first. Let the growth be earned, not forced. Each level of trading demands a new level of psychological maturity. Every great trader knows that scaling is not just about increasing numbers, it's about increasing self-control. You scale your lot size only after you've scaled your discipline. You scale your capital only after you've scaled your patience. You scale your profits only after you've proven that your emotions no longer dictate your actions. There's a saying among seasoned traders: If you can't manage small money, you'll never manage big money. It's not about math, it's about mindset. Because big money amplifies everything. It magnifies greed, fear, and impatience. If those emotions are unchecked at $10, they'll destroy you at $1,000. That's why the $10 journey is sacred. It's where you build immunity to emotional sabotage. And here's the truth no one tells you. Small consistency is rarer than big wins. Anyone can hit a lucky trade. Very few can stay profitable every week, every month, for years. Consistency is the real flex. It's what separates traders who survive from those who disappear. You must fall in love with boredom, the repetition, the daily routine, the small goals, because mastery lives in monotony. The excitement of trading fades fast, but discipline, that's eternal. The trader who treats every $10 day like a victory will one day manage thousands with the same calm precision. That's how big success is built. One patient, protected, deliberate step at a time. The market will always tempt you to go faster, to risk more, to skip steps. Don't. Stay grounded. Respect your process. Because while everyone else is chasing noise, you'll be quietly building a foundation that cannot be shaken. You don't need to chase the next big move. You just need to win the small battles every day. The battle against impatience, greed, and fear. If you can win those, you've already won the market.
By the time you've learned to manage risk, to stay patient, and to control your emotions, you start realizing something deeper. Trading isn't just about charts or price movements anymore. It's about you. It's about who you're becoming through the process. Every click, every entry, every exit is a reflection of your discipline, your fear, and your growth. This is where most traders either evolve or vanish, because this stage isn't about skill, it's about identity. You've proven you can make $10 a day. You've built consistency, but now the market starts asking you a harder question. Can you keep that consistency when everything gets uncomfortable? That's the next level, emotional mastery. The market doesn't just test your strategy. It tests your patience, your self-worth, your ability to stay calm when uncertainty screams for attention. You'll have days where nothing moves, days where everything moves against you, days where you feel invisible, frustrated, or tempted to break your rules just to feel alive again. And those are the days that define who you really are as a trader. Because consistency isn't built when things are going well. It's built in the moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. It's in those quiet hours, staring at a chart that makes no sense, fighting the urge to take a trade that doesn't exist, where mastery begins. Most people quit here, not because the market beats them, but because their mind does. They mistake boredom for stagnation. They mistake patience for wasted time. They start chasing again, breaking rules, losing control, and just like that, they're back at square one. But not you. Not anymore. Because you understand now that discipline isn't a phase, it's a lifestyle. Every $10 day you've achieved wasn't just a profit. It was a repetition of control. A small act of rebellion against chaos. And if you can hold that control long enough, it becomes your default state. You see, the market doesn't reward the smartest trader. It rewards the calmest one. The one who can take a loss and not lose confidence. The one who can watch others make more money and not feel envy. The one who knows that trading is a marathon, not a sprint. The $10 journey is teaching you the hardest lesson of all. To detach your identity from your outcomes. You are not your wins and you are not your losses. You are your process. You are your discipline. You are your patience. When you internalize that truth, you become unstoppable. Because from that moment forward, nothing can shake you. A loss no longer feels like failure. It feels like feedback. A win no longer feels like victory. It feels like validation of your plan. You stop riding the emotional roller coaster that destroys so many traders. You find peace in the process. That's emotional mastery. The ability to trade without being controlled by emotion, to act from logic, not reaction. And here's the beautiful part. Emotional mastery doesn't just change your trading, it changes your life. You become calmer in conflict. You become more patient in decisions. You stop chasing instant gratification in everything you do. Because the same discipline that earns $10 a day in the market becomes the same discipline that builds success everywhere else. Trading is the mirror of life. It reflects everything. Your habits, your mindset, your insecurities. And through this mirror, you begin to grow as a person. The longer you stay in the game, the clearer that reflection becomes. The market will humble you. It will break your ego. It will teach you lessons about yourself that no one else can. But if you stay long enough, it will also reward you, not just with profits, but with self-awareness, confidence, and peace. This is where you stop trying to control outcomes and start mastering reactions. Think about how much energy traders waste trying to predict what comes next, analyzing, overthinking, refreshing charts. The truth is, no one knows what's next. The only thing you can control is how you respond to what happens. That's the power of emotional mastery. When you stop needing certainty, you start finding consistency. The impatient trader chases control. The patient trader manages surrender. You stop forcing the market to fit your expectations and start letting it teach you. You stop needing to be right and start aiming to execute correctly. That shift changes everything. Say this to yourself. I don't chase results. I chase precision. Precision is what separates professionals from amateurs. You no longer need to prove anything. You're focused, consistent, intentional. You execute your plan with quiet confidence. You stop looking for shortcuts because you realize mastery is the shortcut. At this stage, your trading begins to reflect wisdom. You no longer react emotionally to gains or losses. You understand that both are temporary. What's permanent is your growth, the trader you're becoming day by day, decision by decision. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing money, it starts coming easier. When you stop forcing trades, opportunities appear naturally. When you stop measuring success by daily profit, consistency becomes effortless. Because you've shifted your focus from outcome to process. And that's the moment when traders transform into professionals. The $10 journey has never been about numbers. It's about conditioning your mind to handle uncertainty with grace. It's about replacing chaos with calm. It's about creating habits so strong that even when everything else feels unstable, your discipline doesn't shake. Every professional trader you admire, the ones with years of success, the ones who seem unshakable, they all went through this phase. They all learned to master their emotions before they mastered the market. They learned that true power isn't found in predictions, it's found in patience. So if you're feeling frustrated, stuck, or uncertain, remember this. Those emotions aren't signs of weakness. They're signs that you're on the right path. Growth always feels uncomfortable. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is simple. The ones who succeed keep showing up anyway. Trading doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. Show up, execute, learn, repeat. That's the rhythm. Because the truth is, you don't need more wins. You need more discipline. You don't need a new system. You need the patience to master the one you already have. And you don't need luck. You need endurance. $10 a day is not the goal. It's the practice ground for mastering your emotions, your habits, and your focus. Once you master those, the profits take care of themselves. This is what separates temporary traders from lifelong professionals. The temporary trader fights the market. The professional flows with it. The temporary trader sees the market as a test of intelligence. The professional sees it as a test of character. And once you pass that test, you realize something profound. The market doesn't reward those who need to win. It rewards those who refuse to quit.
At some point in your journey, something shifts. You stop thinking like a beginner. The constant noise of doubt, fear, and greed begins to fade. What used to feel like chaos now feels like rhythm. You begin to trust yourself. Not because you've stopped losing, but because you've learned how to handle losing.
That's when you realize what trading was trying to teach you all along. Mastery doesn't start when you win big, it starts when you stop falling apart after small losses. The $10 a day journey has brought you here, through frustration, through boredom, through the slow grind of daily repetition. And if you've made it this far, you've learned the secret that most people never discover. Trading is not about money. It's about becoming the kind of person who can earn it, patiently, consistently, and with control. You've built habits most people never will. Discipline, patience, emotional balance. You've learned to sit through uncertainty and make peace with it. You've learned to follow your plan even when your emotions want to take control. That's the mindset that separates professionals from everyone else. When you master your emotions, the market stops being a threat. It becomes a mirror, showing you your strengths, your weaknesses, your growth. You stop trading to prove something. You stop trading to escape something. You trade because it's your craft, because you love the process. That's the moment every trader dreams of. Not the day they make their first $1,000, but the day they realize they don't need to chase it anymore. From here, scaling up becomes natural. You don't force it, you let it happen. You begin to increase your risk slowly, your targets gradually. $10 turns into $20, then $50, then $100 a day. But what's important is that nothing about your process changes. You're still the same disciplined trader, just operating at a higher level. That's the power of foundation, because once you've built it strong enough, it can support anything you place on top of it. Every trader wants growth, but few are willing to grow the right way, slowly, intentionally, with respect for the process. They rush, and the market punishes them. You've done what most won't. You've learned patience before profit, structure before size. That's why you'll last. Scaling up is not about trading bigger. It's about thinking bigger without losing the humility of your beginnings. It's about remembering that $10 a day taught you everything you need to know about managing risk, controlling emotion, and respecting the process. Those lessons don't disappear when the numbers get larger. They become more important than ever. Because the moment you start handling bigger positions, your emotions come back to test you. Fear, greed, pressure. But this time, you're ready. You've been trained by the grind. You've been strengthened by discipline. You've been hardened by patience. You don't react. You respond. You don't panic. You analyze. You don't chase. You wait. And that's what mastery looks like. Control in the middle of chaos. Calm in the face of uncertainty. The $10 a day journey was never about $10. It was about teaching you how to think like a professional before you earn like one. It was about shaping your identity into someone who could handle success. Because here's the truth. Most traders aren't destroyed by losses, they're destroyed by success they weren't ready for. They make one big win and suddenly think they've cracked the code. They increase risk, get reckless, and the same market that rewarded them humbles them right back. But not you. You've been built differently. You've earned your discipline. You've faced your emotions. You've embraced boredom. And that makes you unshakable. Now, you're not trading for excitement, you're trading for excellence. You're not chasing freedom, you're building it. Every trade you take now is measured, intentional, professional. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The market has already tested you, and you passed. You've learned that trading isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about making the right move every time, it's about making the right decision over time. You've turned trading into something most people never do, an inner journey, the kind that builds patience, humility, and strength. Every chart, every candle, every pattern is a reflection of human emotion, fear and greed, hope and regret. But you've learned to rise above that chaos. You see what others can't. You don't just trade the market, you trade your mindset. That's what separates consistent traders from the crowd. They're not controlled by emotions, they control them. They don't react to the market, they respond with clarity and calm. When others panic, you'll be patient. When others chase, you'll wait. When others quit, you'll adapt. Because you've learned the truth. The market doesn't reward the fastest or the smartest, it rewards the most disciplined. Now, as you move forward, remember the lesson that built your foundation. Every big success starts small. $10 a day is just a symbol. It represents your ability to show up, stay disciplined, and trust the process even when nothing seems to happen. Keep that mindset forever.
because the trader who can stay patient in small wins will be unstoppable with big ones. When you master the $10 journey, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, the profits come naturally, not from luck, but from alignment. Your actions, your mindset, your patience, all working together. The market will still challenge you. There will still be losing streaks, emotional days, moments of doubt, but you won't crumble. You'll breathe. You'll refocus. You'll remind yourself, this is part of the journey. Because consistency isn't built in comfort, it's built in resilience. You started with small goals, but you've grown into a trader with massive control. You understand now that trading is not about chasing freedom, it's about becoming the kind of person who deserves it. So when you sit down at your charts tomorrow, remember how far you've come. Remember the version of you who used to panic over small losses, who used to overtrade, who used to need validation. That person is gone. In their place stands a trader who has learned patience, precision, and purpose. You've turned $10 a day into a philosophy, a way of life. Keep walking this path, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. The world will keep chasing fast success, you'll keep building real success. Because you understand now that every big dream begins with small, disciplined steps. $10 at a time. The journey was never about the money. It was never about the numbers on a screen. It was about you, the discipline you built, the patience you forged, the calm you learned to protect. $10 a day was just the spark, the humble beginning of something far greater. You learned that success isn't found in the trades you take, but in the control you keep. You discovered that consistency isn't a destination, it's a daily choice. And you proved that the smallest goals, when pursued with purpose, create the biggest transformations. So, as you close the charts tonight, remember this. The market will rise and fall, opportunities will come and go, but your mindset, your patience, that's the real profit. Stay steady, stay disciplined, keep mastering your craft, because when you master the mind, the money follows. This isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of your consistency. $10 at a time. Don't miss the next lesson. Subscribe now.